Elizabeth Street, Little Italy. Hangs with his pals, yeah, that's where he'll be. It's Vinny, a friend of mine. Stand-up guy from the Lower East Side. Take it from me, he's one of a kind. It's Vinny Valentine.
Who's better than you? Welcome to Tell It Like It Is. And my co-host,
how are you,
Mariana.
Vinny?
Hello, baby. How are you?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, it's been a few weeks.
Nice to see you.
Yes.
Well, you know, I've been out of circulation.
You have
just for a little while.
For a little bit.
And plus, you know, I just recently had a death in the family.
I know. I'm so sorry.
You know, and then on top of that, that took a lot out of me.
I can only imagine.
And now I'm now recovering from that. Now this week, I have a procedure that I have to go through now at the hospital.
You didn't tell me?
Colonoscopy.
Oh, well, that's not that bad.
Well, now I told you.
And you told everybody else.
And I told everybody else. So I got to start drinking that stuff.
Oh, boy. What day? When are you going in?
I'm going in Thursday, Wednesday. I have to start drinking that stuff all day long.
You're right.
So I'm going to be home all day long. And then Thursday I go for the procedure. And then Eric, my boy, is going to come and pick me up.
Of course he is.
From the hospital, you know, because they don't let you out of there unless if
right, if somebody's with
someone.
you.
Now, I know I brought this up a few times, but you know what? It's not this week, but next week I'm going to Central Park, and I want to find out from those guys that have the horse and buggy, who are these people that are against the horse and buggy? You know,
the mayor, the black.
No, I know that.
Other some activists, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I want to know the activists that are behind that. You know, the animal activists that are behind it. Because I'd like to get one of them on my show. I want to have a debate with one of them on my show. That's number one. And I've always said, you know, because I said this before, that de Blasio, before he was elected, he said, quote unquote, if I'm elected, the first thing I'm going to do is eliminate horse and buggy.
Right.
You know what? This is a mayor that I think is not playing with a full deck.
No, he's not.
I mean, between Giuliani, Bloomberg, de Blasio, Clinton now might as well just put Al Sharpton in there and let him run for president. You know, I mean, it can't get any worse.
No.
And you know, I'd like to have he says, if I'm elected, first thing I'm going to do is eliminate horse and buggy. What he should have said was, hey, if I'm elected, first thing I'd like to do is help the homeless, help the poor, you know, help the people that are on the street.
We've got more homeless people than ever before.
You know, he's worried about horse and buggy. You know what they should do, horse and buggy? They should put a little stable in the park so that they don't have to go back to the stables and go down.
They're well taken care of, believe it or not. They treat it pretty good. Just that the activists complain that in the summer it's too hot, but they give them water, they take care of them.
Are we all right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking.
I'm sorry. What was that? That was a little.
Well, you know, they're pretty well taken care of. The problem is that the activists feel that maybe they're being abused.
I'd like to introduce him first.
Oh, yeah.
This is Vinny Parco.
I know you're having a conversation with someone that we haven't introduced. Vinny Parco.
But Vinny just jumped in. That's okay.
Yes.
All right. That's okay. And then
he has a
before we
lot
get
to
to
say.
that,
Yeah.
and then the next subject is that was it Bruce Jenner?
Bruce Jenner. Yes.
Bruce Jenner. Now he went through that change, which, you know, it's fine. You know, some like to swing on a tree, some like to jump in a bush. You do whatever makes you happy. I'm not against anything like that.
He's on the cover of Vanity Fair.
But on what?
On the cover.
And he's gonna be and he's on the cover of
He
Vanity
got 1 million
Fair.
tweets today, in like a small. He beat President. What's that guy's name? Obama. He beat his tweets. He got 1 million tweets.
Wow.
And somebody else. In like I don't know how many hours. Unbelievable. That's people are tweeting back and forth. You know, and you know you got to give him credit. Or
Of course.
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Bruce Jenner. He wanted. Look, this is what made him happy.
Yes.
He did it.
After how many years? How old is he?
He is a public figure, and you knew that he was. You know, he gave a 2020 interview. He gave all these interviews.
Yeah.
And he explained his position. You know, and you know he did what he did. I mean, I don't think they should make such a big deal about it. But then again, he is a celebrity. Well, he's with that Jennifer, you know, that Kardashian and all that stuff.
Kardashians, yep.
And you know, but I think
Well, because
it's going to
people
die
have,
down.
but I think it's because people have been following the process. They've seen the change throughout the years,
Yeah,
and
you
I
could
think
see,
that's
I
why
mean,
it's so intriguing.
This is not a overnight
That's the
change. I mean,
thing.
we saw it going, you know,
And people are already,
He
you know,
looked so- he
assuming
looked
that
feminine,
something
his
was
face got
happening.
thin and
Yeah.
everything. I mean, I don't think it's, you know.
I'm just curious to see what his love life is going to be after this.
Why do you worry about his love life?
I'm
Worry
not
about
worried
your
about
own
his
love life.
I'm just curious because he said during the interview he's not gay. But
No,
now
he's
that
not.
he's becoming a woman, will he ever want to make love again? And if so, to who?
Well, if he makes love to a woman,
Yeah.
then he's a lesbian.
Exactly.
But since he was a guy once, I don't know. I don't know if they have a new term for that. They have LGBT, and you know. So I guess what happens if he makes, but if he makes love to a guy, it's okay because he's really a woman.
I see.
But if he makes love, I don't know. It's kind of, he's like a trans testicle. I don't know.
if everything is removed and he made love to a guy.
I'm sure there's some room for.
There was an episode on the Kardashians that the children were asking him exactly what he was going to do.
Show?
I have watched that show
God,
before.
I'm embarrassed.
No, it's interesting. Reality TV, hey, you never know.
I really don't care. I'm just curious.
But he answered them honestly, and he said, I actually don't know. Once the full change happens, I don't know whether I'm going to, because he's never really, when he was with Kris Jenner, with his former wife, he said that he was always sexually attracted to her. So, during that time, no. And he had, what, 2 wives before
They're not like
that.
her kids.
So he always was lenient and sexually attracted to women, but now we'll see what happens once he makes the full change.
Unbelievable.
Now, what happens if he changes the operation, he gets the operation.
Right.
Yeah.
Now he's whatever, woman, a shim, and he likes women and men. Is he bisexual then?
Hey.
But being that he's got that operation, he's really trisexual.
But you know, with one, the one thing is.
Hey, did I come on the show to talk about
Hold on,
Bruce
I wanted
Jenner?
to- wait,
About
one more
someone's
thing.
testicles?
Let's forget about Bruce Jenner.
The only thing is that since he is a public speaker and he's doing all this and he's doing it in the public, it is bringing a motivation to other people that have been hiding, that have this issue for a long time.
You know,
and
I got to tell you tonight, I had this issue. I'm going to be on the cover of Hustler magazine.
He could be the spokesperson for people that have been suffering with this type of thing for a long time and haven't wanted to come out because they're afraid of how people are going to react.
Our society, whatever, people come out of the closet like crazy. It's not a big deal anymore.
But this is completely different because it's
I know. It is,
changing their gender.
Well, it is a big deal, medically.
It was easy for me to accept because I grew up in Greenwich Village.
Yeah, I know.
So
I live there now.
I've seen it all around me.
Yeah.
From when I was a kid up till now. So it doesn't, it's no big thing to me.
It doesn't faze you.
No.
Yeah.
But they made a big thing, Vanity Fair and all that kind of stuff.
Anyway, I want to talk about you.
Yeah.
That's what I want to talk about.
Let's
you.
move
It's about
on.
time.
Welcome to our lovely guest.
So now, I've seen, just the other night, I seen you on it was last night, seen you on that show, if I'm pronouncing it right, Dumb and Dumber or something like that?
No, Dumbest Criminals Caught on Tape.
The dumbest criminal.
After my show, Parco P.I. ended, the True TV bought the network. The Time Warner bought the network, so they changed it to True TV. So they had me do about 4 or 5 seasons of Dumb Criminals Caught on Tape. And what they had a few people from law enforcement on the show, and then these comedians. So we would give a comments about stuff and try to be as comical as possible, but the comics are comical. And the funny thing about the comics on the show, you got the girl, what's that, Tanya Harding. She broke a girl's knee with a wrench.
Nancy
with
Kerrigan.
an Olympic. She's a criminal. I mean, you want to use it that way. I mean, you got the guy from Different Strokes, the kid, what's his name? He was a junkie. He was Donnie Bonaducci. He was a junkie. You have all junkies on the show. I mean, they're not junkies anymore. So I think that was the little tongue-in-cheek thing about the show. So I did a few of them, and I had fun doing it. And then I did a couple. I did the Learning Channel hired me once to do a show called Help Wanted. And when I interview investigators, when I want to hire somebody, like a new person, what I used to do, and they let me do it on the show, is as I'm interviewing the person, say a young guy just came out of John Jay College of Criminal Justice.
Right.
So I would have my secretary come in and start an argument with me. Hey, Vin, and walk out. So I go to the guy, okay, all right, what color shirt was she, what color dress was she wearing? What did she say to me? And blah, 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 blah. And I want to see if the guy
If they're
picks
quick.
this up.
Yeah.
And I told them about that, so they did that on the show. That was one of the scenes. The other scene was we had a race obstacle course on the show. And we did it in New Jersey on the dock in Newark. It was crazy. It was fun. And then we did dumpster diving. We had a dumpster up on 148th Street in West Side Highway. It was a dumpster, but no dirty garbage. They had like, foam and stuff like that. And what they put in there was the weapons in the game of Clue. Candlestick, a knife, plastic knife. And they had to jump in there and had 2 minutes to find as many things.
To find them.
And whoever found the least amount got thrown off the show. And we did that through the whole show. And it was fun. The guy that won was Joe McBratney. The Joe McBratney's famous because his father was Jim McBratney, who got shot by John Gotti. That's how John Gotti became a made. Well, he was a made guy. He killed him. He went to jail, came out, and became a captain. And the rest, everybody knows he became a godfather. So McBratney was saying, I said to him, your name sounds familiar. He goes, my father Jim was killed by John. I said, oh, boy. But I picked him, and I liked him. And I put him on I actually hired him. Because I hired him, he got a badge and was supposed to be hired. So they gave him a badge, and I hired him. And he was pretty good, worked with me. Then then we kind of drifted apart, but I'm still friendly with him. And that was an interesting show. And then I did a couple other shows, but my show, Parco P.I, did 2 seasons. And now it's in, reruns all over England. So England calls me up. Rumpus Films called me up about 3 or 4 months ago. Said, would you like to do a show in England? I said, yeah, why not? So they sent me some like little blurbs, and I did a little video with emailed a video, like 2-minute thing. And they called me back and they said, can you do another one? I did another one. And they sent the director in from England. Spent the whole day with me, filmed me going around the city, blah, 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 talking about how we're going to do investigations. And then today I got an email. We're going to say today. Today I got an email from him that says you're going to come to England soon. I don't know, maybe within the next few weeks. And we're going to do a case on TV. We're going to film it, and then we're going to give it to the network and see if we're going to have a whole series.
That is incredible.
But in the meantime, my friend Scott Skolnick convinces me to do a show called To Catch a Deadbeat. And he put me
A deadbeat.
So listen to Noah, you're not on the show. I'm sorry, we left you out. So what happened was, this guy, Bob Sears, was the biggest deadbeat ever. He owed $1.4 million in arrears. He went all around the world. He ran away before he could go to jail. He ran away. He went to Thailand. He got caught in Philippines. He was in jail. It's an interesting story.
Excuse me, Scotty. That happened. That's not the same person we're thinking about.
It's
Is
the guy that you met.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It is.
Robert Sand.
Sand. I'm sorry, Sand. But we hit it off pretty good. We did a sizzle reel about a month ago, and
how much was that? That 1.4,
1.3, something like that. A lot of money.
He owed.
Now I think he only owes $1 million because I think he paid off the first one. He had 2 wives, and each one. What happened was he made a lot of money when he was married to them. Yeah. The motor vehicle laws changed. He couldn't sell the certain cars that he was selling. They changed the law, made it more difficult, so he couldn't make the money. So they based his child on when he was making $2 million a year, not when he was making $200,000 a year. He couldn't pay it, so he ran away. They caught. It's a lot. We could talk all night about that. So they put me. So he's the biggest deadbeat dad. He and I are going to be partners, and he wants to do the right thing. Justice prevail, and we're going to go after these guys. So we did that. And then the other night I met with one of my lawyer friends, and I helped a couple guys that got wrongfully convicted get out of jail. I found the witnesses that recanted. They said, I didn't say it. That detective made me say that. So we
After how long? How long were they in jail?
One guy we did was 15 years in jail for murder he didn't do.
How long?
15. Then there's another guy came out for 22 years in jail for something he didn't do. So we got witnesses, and they said, yeah, they were junkies. He said, look, now I'm straight. At the time, I was a junkie. The cop came over and said, yeah, all right, I saw that. I gave him whatever they do, give him a bag of dope. And he testified. The guy got convicted. Now, this is, unfortunately, this is all on the Brooklyn DA, Hines. Hines has a lot of these cases. And I always thought he was a good guy, but who knows? Sometimes they want numbers. The prosecutors, all they want is numbers. They want to say, I got 8 guys convicted this month or something like that. So I'm teamed up with a very interesting guy. He's a black attorney. He was a DA in the Bronx. He's tall. Well, everybody's taller than me, but he's taller than me. Shaved head, a beard, and a little bow tie. And we had dinner the other night, drinks and dinner. We hit it off good. We can make a good team. So I got that in the works. Okay. Then I told you, Fire Talk, it's part of Pal Talk. I did a show for them on the internet. It's an internet show, and it goes all around the world. But I didn't make any money with it, but it was fun doing. So now they gave me my own channel, and I'm not familiar with the electronic portion of it, but people can just go on a computer, go with the code or whatever it is, and watch me, and it's live. And I do it from my office. I could do it with a camera. I can even do it with an iPhone. I can have someone hold the iPhone. I just talk.
And you're teaching them how to become a private investigator.
Well, that's one of the, I can do anything I want.
I see.
I can even do a Vinny show on my show. But I won't do that.
So there's not a premise.
The premise is me. I can do whatever I want.
That's great.
And I like that.
That's fantastic.
But I could do it 7 days a week if I want. It depends on, I'm going to probably do 1 or 2 days.
On your schedule.
But I want to teach a private eye course on there because you'll be surprised how many cops retire from the police department and they go into private, they don't know what they're doing. They really don't. Because they think like a cop. And don't get me wrong, New York City cops, in my opinion, are the best criminal investigators in the world, okay? But when it comes to private investigators, they kind of do what they learned for 20 years in the police department. And some of them don't want to change, and some do. I have a couple work for me. I got about 4 or 5 guys that work for me. They're very good. And they know what they picked up what we do. But they're good for like interviewing people, taking surveillances, taking statements, stuff like that. But the skip tracing part, the things that we do that are very, very technical, they don't know how to do. Well, they don't want to do it. They want to do what they've learned all these years.
Right, or they haven't learned.
It's a comfort zone.
Right.
Everybody has a comfort zone. So I got all these things. Now, the best one is, and I'm really excited about this. I don't, if everybody's listening to this, they say, how can he do all these things? I can't. I have to admit, the first one that gives me a check owns me. But the one that I'm going to do, because it doesn't conflict, this is real acting. I'm going to be like you, a real actor. It's going to be on HBO called ESQ. It's about a high-end nightclub, a gentleman's club. But it's not about the nudity and all that stuff. It's very high-end, big, rich people. I'm the manager of the club, one of the managers, and I'm the head of security. I'm a gambler on the show. I found out everybody has a vice on the show. Mine is gambling. The lead guy is Drayton. He's from the Sons of Anarchy. He was a sheriff, plays the sheriff there. He's my boss, Victor. And I think he's got I really don't know his vice, but I know he goes out at night. He goes looks, I don't know, for women or something like that, which is not a bad vice. The other guy that's on the show.
Sounds familiar, huh?
He's got a sinus problem with cocaine.
Mariana, sure he says nice things about his baby.
Andrea Mateo's, I believe she's scheduled to be on the show. She's got a vice. So everybody's got a vice on the show.
When do you start shooting?
We hopefully start shooting end of June, which is pretty close.
Yeah.
Or probably by September. I'm not sure.
Okay.
They asked Frank Kahlo's the director, and he brought me on the show. He's the director, and he wrote the script. They love his script.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He was nominated for 2 Academy Awards, so he's got chops. He knows what he's doing.
Maybe around the end of June or July, which Mariana doesn't know yet, she might have to start doing a few shows by herself.
Whoa.
Because I'm going to be running around the country with...
You've had me do that many, many times. You won't be the first.
I think she'll do a very good job.
With the bottles of wine now that I have.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's called...
Which I didn't get yet.
But we didn't...
Me either.
Rub it in. Well, it'll be...
the glass.
Right now, it's being labeled and it's being packaged. They'll be available online and going into the stores within the next 40 or 50 days.
Good. God bless you.
Then, when that happens, I'm going to go around the country. We have so far Vegas, Miami, Kansas City, California. So I'm going to go around promoting the wine. And if it happens to be on the days that we're going to do my show, then you're in charge. You're going to have to do it on your own. And I know you can handle it.
Of course.
There you go.
And when you do it, I'll be your co-host.
There you go.
There you go. For your co-host. You know?
So I'm very excited about all these things. Now, remember, I never thought I'd be an actor. I'm not but you got to remember that when I worked for the guy, I did a lot of undercover work. You know, you do narcotic cases, stuff like that. And when you're undercover, you're acting.
You're acting.
You're acting as that person. And the best compliment I got is I busted this guy. Now, I wasn't a cop. I was a state medical investigator. So I went after the doctors for narcotics, child abuse, sex, and anything that a criminal could do. But a doctor has a double jeopardy. He can get arrested as a citizen, but he could also lose his license as a doctor. Because there's a stipulation in the law, if you're convicted of a crime, you could lose your license, or gross negligence, or something like that. So I used to have those cases. So sometimes I used to go undercover. I always Vincent Perry salesman. I was always a salesman. And the funny thing is, when I was on the job, we didn't have like an undercover phone. And I told my boss that we got to have an undercover phone. So I was a salesman for Acme Supply Company. So if that phone rang, I would put a sticker on there and tell the secretary, if it's for Vincent Perry, tell him he's out of the office and he'll call you back. And we did that. And I got scored.
I've gotten that many times. Every time I've called. Now I know.
Now you know. Now you know he was undercover.
I'm going to tell the girl. I know there's a tag on it.
But I tell you, when I used to go after doctors, chiropractors, and psychologists. Psychologists, it's the same thing all the time. Sexual. It's always a sexual problem. They're having sex with their patient, which is a no-no, and crazy stuff. Chiropractors, there are a lot of good chiropractors, but there's a lot of crooked ones. And they always want to be doctors. Chiropractors have this thing about being a doctor.
I have a question for you. Now, with all these things that you've done and with all these things that you're doing, if someone ever came up to you and say, describe Vinny Vella, what kind of a guy is Vinny Vella? What would you say? I'm just curious to hear what you would say, your opinion.
Well, I'm a friend of yours, but if I didn't know you, like when I met you in Brunelli's and I saw you on The Sopranos, I would say he's a 70-year-old guy, a little rotund.
How old? Wait,
70.
what did you
70.
say? Get him the off this show.
You want me to lie?
No, it's not.
No,
70.
you asked him the question.
Well,
okay, all right.
I said 70. He's a little
I'm sorry.
overweight. Funny guy. Has a very raspy voice.
Why did I open up
You
my
asked
mouth?
the question.
Okay.
You asked the question.
Okay.
He's just being honest.
And, a funny guy.
70. God almighty.
can't get over
I'm going to
that
have to
the
get you some Windex. Go ahead.
I don't say you are 70. I say you look 70. I don't, that's different. Okay. Oh my God. Now I'm in a jam.
Yeah, the hole is getting deeper.
I'm going to get out of this one.
So you describe
All right, but I'm describing it like I didn't know you. Now I know you. I say he's 52 years old. He's 51. He's 7 foot tall. He's thin. He's good looking. He's
Very much in shape.
Drop it. That's it.
No, but it's interesting because sometimes it's very hard to pick to say a person's age and stuff like that. I picked up some tricks and stuff like that. Like sometimes you talk to people and you can get. For example, I'm talking to this woman, very attractive woman, and we're talking, and she says, "Yeah, I used to work for Smith Barney for about 7 years." And then she was telling me she worked for this other place for 8 years. And she did this and that, and she went to this college. And I'm doing them.
What'd you say?
I took my shoes off. I'm looking at my
age.
toes. She got out of college when she was 21. She's got. I added up about 18 years in business. So I got to figure the minimum. She's 39. Minimum, right? So I'm figuring she's 40. Let's say, but you can't say that to a woman. So, well, I don't know. If she just says how. Oh, it's about 34, 35. I feel good about that.
Why can't you make me feel good about me?
I'm not, because I know you. I don't want to make you feel good.
So, Vinny, I'm curious, what are the key factors to making a good private investigator?
Well, there's a lot of factors.
Okay.
The key factor is make sure
that your mic stays on. That's
right.
number one.
Okay. That fell
Thanks,
off when he said I
Richard.
was 70.
That's a good question because sometimes I talk to cops.
Yeah.
And you got a cop. He says a uniform cop. He loves being a uniform cop. So how come you don't want to be a detective? You know what? That's not my thing. I like being a cop. I like being the centurion. I like going and doing my thing. A lot of detectives, they like to solve the crime. You want to solve the crime. When I was in school, I read a story about Sherlock Holmes, and I was reading a story about how he used to. But the question you asked me is the thing that he would look at a guy and says, "That guy was in the Navy." What do you mean? He was dishonorably charged in the Navy. How do you know? So the way he walked, there's a certain walk that in Britain, the Navy guys have a certain swagger. And he asked the guy certain things, and the guy was evasive. He said, "Take off your shirt." Of course, this is fiction, but took off his shirt. He had a tattoo from the Navy thing. He goes, "You were a yeoman on the ship, and you got thrown off because you were dishonorably discharged because you were." And the guy really started crying. So I saw that. I said, "You know what? I like that challenge of finding." And I always did puzzles. I always did puzzles. I still do. I love puzzles. And I think that's what you want to find the truth. You want to find the evidence. You want to find out what. And there are different types of investigators. I don't know if you remember years ago, they used to call detectives, New York City cops, bulls. So they used to bull their way. They go in.
Bulls.
Bulls. They bull their way, go into a bar, throw everybody against the wall.
Yeah.
Can't do that anymore. Now you guys, we're a different age, different time. And some guys, I remember I replaced the sergeant on my job. And when I worked for the state, I worked for the OPD, Office of Professional Discipline. And I was like a rookie. So I was in this CQ desk, they call it. So I'm sitting there with he's training me. And what happened was we got along pretty good. Between 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock, he was great. After 12 for lunchtime, he came back bombed. He was drunk all the time. So they had to get rid of him. So he was provisional. I was tenured. So he said, hey, kid, I'm teaching you my job, But he was the old-fashioned cop. Kick ass and take names. He'd go in there, not scientific. And the newer cops are a little more scientific. And if you watch TV, you see like all these, all these different technical things. But the bottom line, you still got to do old school. I work on cases. I have the best technical guys working for me. But sometimes I like going out in the field. I said, let me go knock on a few doors. Because a computer can't tell you what the guy across the street saw. A computer can't tell you what he knows about this guy. A computer can't tell you that this guy smacks his wife around when nobody's around. The computer can't tell you certain things about people. And sometimes when you're investigating somebody, sometimes they're off the radar. They're not on a computer. I got a case now of a woman, a witness on a criminal case, and there's nothing on her. She doesn't have credit cards. She doesn't. So what I have to do is I got to go knock on doors, talk to, hey, remember that lady? Yeah. And sometimes you can't say you're an investigator. Sometimes you have to say, well, I work for an insurance company, and there's a small policy she has, not a lot of money. It's only a couple $1,000, but I have to find her. I got to close out the file. Oh, that lady here, I think she works in the dry cleaners around the corner. And you go to dry cleaner, you talk to the dry cleaner.
Sorry, Vinny, I think we're out of time.
Then
The music is
I was just
playing.
getting warmed up.
Well, we're bringing you back next week, so don't you worry, because we need to continue
To be
this.
continued. To be continued.
To be continued, everyone. See you next week.
He'll be back next week. We're going to finish this.
Yes.
He'll be on our next segment next week.
You got it.
Okay?
Thank you for joining us. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Now we're doing
It's Vinny, a friend of mine. Stand-up guy from the Lower East Side. Take it from me, he's one of a kind. It's Vinny Velatine.